Conversating? Conversating with Pops and Ade.
Yep, conversating with Pops and Ade.
Well, I'm Peter J. Harris.
And I'm Adenike A. Harris. And this is Conversating with Pops and Ade.
Conversating with Pops and Ade.
Let's go.
Let's get started.
Fine. I'm not messing with you no more, man. Welcome back to Conversating with Pops and Ade. Dad is messing with me already.
Count me down and you don't count me on. Count me in.
Not. I counted you in because I felt like it. What's up, man?
What's up? I'm up. I'm ready.
Getting on my nerves already.
Yeah, well, fire me if you're at your own risk.
I always fire you, so that's kind of how it works these days.
I'm back on the scene.
With the gangster lean. Ooh.
That's right.
All right. So today's topic, for those of y'all who are returning, we appreciate you. For those of you who are brand new, welcome. And you are listening to Conversating with Pops and Ade. I am Adenike, and Pops is, I'm not even going to introduce him. I'm not introducing him today.
Getting no love. The older I get, the less respect I get.
That's what you get for aging. No, from all jokes aside, this is my dad, Peter J. Harris. And
next show.
Today's topic is rituals and ceremonies.
Yes, Isn't that deep? What are your questions? Well, my question is, what are your rituals and ceremonies of healing and wellness and wholeness? Those are very essential questions during these days.
Yeah.
We're faced with a lot of challenges and danger in this world. And, you don't want to surrender to those things. You want to actually keep building your victorizing muscles. You want to keep building your resistance muscles. So, ceremonies, rituals, like we've been saying, establishing patterns and habits that strengthen you and build you. That's what this is all about. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm ready to go on this road with you. And you mentioned
speaking of road.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Go ahead, speak it up.
We all in the same. We all in the same. The DNA run deep. I was gonna say, speaking of roads, one of our rituals have been road trips. I remember when was our first road trip? And this is road trip meaning like across the country road trip.
That's long. If you're on one coast, you go up and down the coast. That's pretty long. One of my
but I don't remember any trips with you specifically up and down like the East Coast. I remember trips with Mom up and down the East Coast. But
let's get this record straight first.
Oh, did we drive to Florida?
Yeah, I rented that car and we drove all the way.
Oh, you mean the Geo Prism with the meat?
Right.
Okay, I remember that now. Okay, I remember that. I kind of blocked it out. We did.
On your fault. It ain't me.
My bad.
We went to FAMU to see your sister.
Yeah, and I think that's when I decided not to go to FAM. No, I'm just playing.
Don't say nothing about FAMU.
Nah, FAMU was dope. It was one of my schools. I just did not. I didn't apply. I made a decision to go other places, but it was definitely on the list. It was on the list.
Yes.
So, all right. So yes, road tripping. We used to go. We clearly went to DC to Florida. I know that we've done DC to. I think we went to Chicago and all of that because that was
the 91 road trip.
91.
We went north to Philly, see Dr. Gordon.
Yeah.
Then we went across. We up north. We went to Baba Kofi in Buffalo, and then from there we went to the Niagara Falls Park, and then drove west first across southern part of Canada. And then came back down to Chicago through Detroit and all of that. Wait,
you mean we crossed into the Canadian border when I ain't had no passport?
Man, everybody, you know what I mean?
In the 90s, they ain't care. In the 90s, they ain't care. It wasn't as intense.
That's right. Yeah, that was a great trip. No, man, but I think whether we tell them all the details or not, to me, the trips, first, they get us from one place to another, but also one spiritual place to another, where we get a chance to, go to a new environment, to explore, experience, and to, get ecstatic, about life. At least that was part of my grown up, mentality and rationales. We could easily have flown places, but I always say that if you can hit the road, I mean, you get
my 11-year-old self was like, why are we in this car? Are we there yet? This is ridiculous. And then for those of you who are listening who do not know what life was like without a cell phone, just imagine being in a car in your back seat with your big brother.
Yeah, right.
With no other thing, nothing else to do but play the license plate game. Like,
or the punch buggy game.
But a punch buggy game. Punch buggy. No punch back.
Yeah. But you your... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it still was fun. You get to see the vast beauty of this country that we live in.
Right.
We are in the middle of such turmoil and such chaos in this country because of the roots that it was founded on. But remembering those road trips, and even so, we just talking about the 91 road trip, but we've had, I know you and I together cross country have had at least 3 together.
Right.
One when I moved out to LA the first time in 2011, and then just recently in 2020 coming back east. And that one was really intense because you do see the difference, you see the change in the landscape. But it was beautiful. It still was a beautiful trip. We've taken it the northern route. We've taken southern route. This go around, we kind of did Midwest. So we've had the opportunity to just that beauty. And that's what I like to really focus on because, yes, it's a long trip. Yes, it is a lot of driving. But with a good playlist, good conversating partner.
Well, I mean, if you talk about going up and down and on the highways from 11, your age being 11 onwards to your just last year.
Oh my God.
What we're saying to people, it seems to me, excuse me, is that, when you build these rituals, when you do these things over and over, they become rituals and ceremonies. And so, clearly, you sitting in the back seat going across the Rockies in 91 in a Honda Civic hatchback full of...
I think it was a DX too. It was one that had the windows that you roll down.
Oh my God, with the
not manual.
Seats.
Manual.
Yeah, it was righteous. But I'm saying that's a radically different trip than going in the fall of last year, where you're in a cars aside, but just you're an adult. You're an adult at that point, and you're making a move, and that I could be a good road dog because we'd already done it. And so when we wanted to talk about deeper stuff, we'd already built that muscle. Yeah. And ironically, in my ear, at least, we didn't even really do that much deep convo. It was more of a joyful thing of checking which map, checking the AAA map, using the AAA app to figure out which hotel that was the safest.
Yeah.
1 or 2 minor, glitches along the way where we didn't quite see eye to eye, but we did ease on into communion. So to me, as I look back and think about road trips as a ritual and a ceremony, well, they are just a special opportunity. And they don't even have to be that long haul type of a road trip.
Right.
Because you can be local when you moved and found yourself where your new place is. While I stayed there to quarantine, we took the road and explored spots. I mean, that's what you do. You just want to see the ground, see the land.
Yeah. Yeah, because we would take road trips up the coast and maybe an hour or 2 up the coast in California. We would take road trips, in the foothills and all of those places. And then we've also driven up to San Francisco, and seen different, we've done that a couple of different times. Right. So I definitely recognize how road trips is something about being in the car, because it also is something that where I can speak for myself, but sometimes I'm like, hey, Dad, I just need to get in the car. Let's ride. and you're like, okay, let's go. And I know that also, when I first moved out there and you were in the same space, you were dealing with the loss of your home, and you were like, you know what? I'm about to take a drive. Let's go somewhere. And, or while I was writing my thesis, you knew I needed a break. We were like, let's go, let's just get out. It just breaks the monotony, but it's like a rhythmic reconnection of whatever you're going through. Some of our other rituals also just include going to the movies. I look forward to when that is open again, because we haven't been able to. Well, actually, rephrase, because it is open. I'm just not going.
Right, you're not ready quite yet.
Not quite ready to go back to the movies, but
and plus you can't eat popcorn with your mask on, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I'm not taking my mask off if I do ever venture into a movie theater. Like, I'm just not. But the other thing is, it's not specifically only going to the movie that is our ritual. I have this thing where I take Dad all the time to see any and every action movie that ever came out.
Oh my God! How much? I've seen so much death.
He would have seen. You did. You would have not seen any Marvel movie if I had not taken you to see it.
And I like old comic books, but I probably wasn't that hip. And I remember, what's the driving movies? Fast and Furious. I know I would have never gone to see that.
But you know what? One of our best movie, I think this may have been the one that started the ritual. I mean, I know you always took us to the movies, because also, and my brother, I'm gonna bring this up because I want my brother to chime in one day if he makes a comment, or maybe we'll get him on here one day. RoboCop, the original.
You're embarrassing me in front of all our 12 listeners.
It's funny because recently it came on. I was watching on Hulu.
We were driving.
We were driving, yes, because it was on while we were at the hotel. And I was like, yo, I think you took me and Tamer to see this. Now, mind you, this is the original. This is the one. I mean, I was watching it like, yo, this is violent as hell. Like, it was gory. I was like, I remember seeing this though as a kid. And his dad was like, no, I didn't take you to see that. I said, yes, you did. And I looked it up. I want to say it came out like 88, 89, which means I was 8 or 9 years old. My brother was, oh man, if I'm 8, he's like 11, 12. He denied it. Wow. My dad denied it. Dad, you literally, I'm laughing so hard because I remember texting my brother and I said, Taylor,
what's wrong,
did Dad take us to go see RoboCop in the movie theater? He said, yeah, that's and his like response was really like, yeah, we were way too young to be watching that movie.
Yeah, he says, I'm still mad at him at me taking him to see Nightmare on Elm Street. I thought he liked scary movies, but I guess not.
No, neither one of us do. So it's really funny how so that was in the 80s, and so now when RoboCop action movies come out, I'm like, Dad, let's go.
Yeah,
even in the joy, right? I'm laughing. It was a good memory, but it still sticks with me because I recognize, that was it. That was we went to go see movies. But I will say our best movie that we went together, because we both went in with no expectation. We actually thought it was gonna be terrible because we was like, we already know the end. We know what happens. Was Titanic.
Yeah,
Titanic
is still
one of the best
there.
movies that specifically my dad and I have gone to see. It's still a great movie. He just recently watched it again and called me.
I certainly did.
This movie is amazing. But that's what we're talking about when it comes to the rituals that you have in your life. They're not just these hashtags and these,
self-care and whatnot.
Jinx, double jinx. I know I'm still a big kid at heart, but I definitely recognize that it's not these cliche things that we see coming around about self-care can be whatever you need it to be, and whatever is specific to your family, your own self. Some people's self-care can be, I go out, for me, I like to go outside. If I see sunlight, I need to be outside. That's a ritual that I have begun to, especially with quarantine. It's when we were stuck in the house, I just would go out on my deck in middle of Koreatown, Los Angeles, and if I
Mm-hmm,
got
mm-hmm.
any sun that beamed on my little patio,
Yeah.
despite across the patio, I'm seeing another family, and there's another building to my right, another building to my left. I
Mm-hmm.
still needed that sunlight. And
Right.
that to me is a ceremony. That is a ritual. You know, Pops and I, we
Mm-hmm.
do road trips, we go to the movies, you know. So I just want to emphasize that from
Mm-hmm.
me. What
Mm-hmm.
about you, Pops?
Well, yeah, I think the same spirit is driving me. You want very much to find things. Well, when y'all were little, like I said, I learned how to braid your hair. I used to like to go like clothes shopping with y'all. Let you pick out your own stuff. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Katama first when I had him as we
Mm-hmm.
joined in. I think that there's something to be said about finding sort of normal, quote unquote,
Yeah.
normal pedestrian things that builds the intimacy.
Yeah.
Just the other day, you were nice enough to coordinate the Zoom sort of all family call. We were
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
trying to mark our first anniversary of, being on Zoom
Mm-hmm.
as a group, and we did it almost, not all of us, of course, but I put a call out, and as the middle child of the old heads, everybody kind of listened to me. But we got almost everybody. We got all
Yeah,
the
we were missing one cousin, my cousin,
one
your
cut, one
nephew.
one
Yeah.
one nephew, and we got us all together. We had our beloved sister-in-laws, two of our originals. Well, no, say my brother's first wife, Mel, is my sister, and of course, Sister Sheila, my brother Ron's current wife and beloved. And we all got together, and we took you galleried us up and took a beautiful photograph. And whatever the technology, whatever the cause, I am just really emphasizing in what we're doing, and in other ways. We don't have to wait to crisis
Yeah.
to create a ceremony. We don't have to wait to drama and trauma to create a ritual. We can
Yeah.
build positive and life affirming rituals. Our family across, the extended family during COVID, we have people who have got infected but who survived, and that's worth celebrating. I mean, people,
Yeah.
500 plus thousand people have died of COVID in this country.
Yeah.
Uh, and more millions more around the world. We're part of the ecosystem. A virus will knock you off. It don't matter what your color is, what your
Right.
history is, what your triumphs are, even.
Yeah.
So for me, I think the point of today's conversation for me is about claiming strengths, various courages, but in the forms of rituals. Do things that build you up. Do things that
Mm-hmm.
make you smile. Do things that make you laugh. Do things that give you a new environment to even
Yeah.
have difficult discussions rather than getting locked in your house or locked someplace. You know, claim the world and
Yeah.
find ways to build beautiful habits.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think is all
Yeah.
is happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's also adding what brings value to your life. Create the rituals and
Mm-hmm.
the ceremonies that bring value, that bring
Yeah.
joy, Soon you're going to talk about, your project that you use the term and phrase emanating a sense of joy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that is also a part of like what rituals and what ceremonies that you can have in your own life. So,
Exactly.
I think the thing I want to leave everybody with today is what is your healing ritual? What is your
Mm-hmm.
healing ceremony? And if you don't have
Mm-hmm.
one, then discover one and discover it for
Mm-hmm.
yourself. Don't look outward to
Right.
do a ceremony or a ritual that someone else tells you because it worked for them. Find one that
Mm-hmm.
works for you. It could literally
Yes.
be laying on your bed with your head upside down looking out the window because it just makes you feel good and the
Mm-hmm.
blood is rushing to your head. I don't know. It's just
Mm-hmm.
something because I've done
Mm-hmm.
that before, which is
Right.
why I mentioned it. I have done it. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
It's
I
worked
don't know
for
that
me.
one, but that's good. That's your personal one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I won't do it again because I think I fell off the bed, to be honest. I think I flipped. Hey man, I'm keeping it real.
Okay.
I'm letting y'all know the
Oh
real.
man.
But I just,
Okay.
but that brought joy to me to
Yeah.
be able to be in that, even in that moment, like to
Right.
be silly. When you're a kid, you hang off the side of the bed, and I was
Yeah.
doing something, and I
Yes.
hung over, and then all of a sudden I flipped, and I was like, oh, but I laughed, and it wasn't a
Yes.
ritual, right? I'm not doing it over and over again, but whatever your thing is,
Yes.
whatever brings you joy, brings you value, can really regulate you, can connect
Mm-hmm.
you in a healing space. And I think, Dad, you mentioned it, that can take you out of a comfort zone and force you to have even a
Yes.
difficult conversation, because those are necessary. Those
Mm-hmm.
conversations are necessary. I mean, we talked about it with dancing with difficulty. We talked in our first season, we talked about it with, communication is the currency, is
Of
whatever. I
collaboration.
remember,
Of
I'll be
collaboration.
missing my C's, but I get it. But all I'm saying is all of these things together are
Right.
about choosing to be well, choosing the
Mm-hmm.
decisions that you want to no longer live in the pain or in the past or
Right.
in something that didn't serve you positively. And
Yes.
so I remember I mentioned in my TEDx speech, I was talking about, do you choose to be well? I made that choice. I no longer wanted to live in this pain and this suffering
Mm-hmm.
and then this
Mm-hmm.
experience. I made a choice.
Right.
And I
Right.
believe we can make the choice to be well. And it's not going to be easy. I'm not saying that you wake up, I'm going to be well today, and it's going to
Right.
happen.
Right.
But
Right.
every day you make the conscious choice and you put in the effort and you do all the work. And I think we've talked about it many times, what the work means and what
Mm-hmm.
all of the steps can look like for each of us. But we're also recognizing the we love this. I'm going to say that the multidimensional ways of healing, it's not just one way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a believer that anything is cookie cutter. I'm not a
Right.
believer that one way is the only way.
Right.
But what I am saying is that one choice can be the decision that leads you to working at and
Yes.
developing the healing tools and figuring out what you need to do. And so that's
Yes. Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean by choosing to be well.
Yeah, it can be like an ignition switch, something that
Yeah.
incites you,
Yeah.
invigorates you. Something I'm also reminded of when I used to have you guys during the summer, and once we finally got that rhythm going, um, one of my rituals was whenever y'all would arrive, if we get that pizza and we talk a
Mhm.
little bit, but that first big meal was a big old spaghetti. Big
Mhm.
old pot of spaghetti with the fresh corn. I'd be snatching that corn in there, man,
Yes,
chopping
you
up
did
that
make some
broccoli.
good vegetarian
Come on
spaghetti.
now, because that's right. Some tofu and all that. So, these things are just allowing us to build a common mythology for each other.
Yeah.
We make our lives mythological. They have a weight and a substance to them.
Mm.
Once you do work together, you build a lifetime of fellowship with a loved one,
Mhm.
a father, daughter, father, son, a husband and wife, a partner, whatever, mother and father, whatever. You build that with someone, you got a common pool of
Yeah.
terminology, memory, and experience, and it's a wave. It makes your life a wave. So
Mhm.
when you hit your peaks, you got more to build from that peak. But when you
Yeah.
dip into these inevitable valleys, you can also rev up memories in your brain. Your brain will work with you.
Mhm.
Your brain will let you know that you're on the right track. We can train ourselves. Now, again, I always say, and I make sure I say, as a political adult, who came of age in a certain time, I'm not suggesting that in and of themselves, these ceremonies, these rituals will take you out of danger,
Right.
will protect you from predators. Frankly, it won't.
Right.
The participation that we're describing and discussing, though, will keep you alert, will keep you valuing yourself, will keep you
Mhm.
recognizing when something shifts, so you can trust your instincts. You can trust you can clarify who your non-abusive loved ones are, even prior to even ever needing them, in any crisis. So again, I always like to walk that talk of, yes, go inward, stay inward, clean it out, grow, expand, etc., etc. But also not just for the sake of, sort of drifting, as if everything is everything after that. It still takes a full adult American life. It still takes a lot of work and a lot of concentration. You just want to build up your capacities so you can really live the life you want to live.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm right there with you. I agree, Dave. So, well, this concludes.
So we're not going to take a road trip soon, but soon come we will, whenever it's time.
Whenever we need to. But we will continue some rituals if we got to create new ones, because that's also the beauty of all of this, is how to create new ones. If we can't do a road trip and we can't go to the movies and we're far apart, well, I guess Zoom calls right now have been hard.
Baby, I like.
Oh, Lord. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
Lionel Richie, man. It's Lionel Richie.
You going to pay Lionel Richie?
Oh, that's right. I was just saying. I was changing the melody. Okay, all right, see you later.
See you later. Talk soon.
You've been listening to Conversating with Pops and Ade. We're your hosts, Peter Harris.
And I'm Adenike Harris. Please, wherever you're listening to this podcast, subscribe, share with your friends, and give us feedback. Also, don't forget to follow us at our Instagram page at PopsnAde, PopsnAde. Facebook, we are Peter and Adenike Harris. And you can also find us on YouTube, where you can see other videos of work that we have done, including our TED Talk entitled Healing versus Retaliation. Thanks again, and come back soon.